Mark Rogers TV, happy to be talking some Tennessee football with Mike LaValle from Last Word on College Football. Mike, how you doing tonight?
Doing great, Mark. Always a pleasure to be with you.
Yeah, so the Vols hitting the practice field pretty much within these couple days of recording, so they're just getting started. And so your thoughts in regards to what you would like to see this team do to get better? What are some of those developing storylines?
Well, Mark, Tennessee has one spring practice under their belt. They started on Tuesday, and they'll be going forward over the next 5 weeks with 3 practices a week, as has become the norm under Butch Jones. Much of the storyline for spring football is off of the field. Over the past 4 weeks, Tennessee has had 3 upperclassmen transfer, defensive lineman Demarion Mixon, converted offensive lineman Charles Mosley, and then just Tuesday announced that safety Stephen Griffin would be transferring off the team. None of these 3 are significant departures, but on a team that was decimated by injuries last year, depth is always a concern, especially at defensive lineman. Demarion Mixon there being a defensive lineman. This definitely puts Tennessee under the 85-man scholarship limit. Butch is known to recruit in high numbers and high volumes. He has high turnover in the program as well. This brings to a total in the last 4 seasons 25 transfers out of the Tennessee program, in addition to 4 disciplinary and or academic dismissals, including 11 transfers from Butch's vaunted 2014 recruiting class, which was ranked number 3 nationally. 11 of those recruits have now transferred out of the Tennessee program. So that's just something to watch. The revolving door, what I call the era of free agency in college football. Nowhere is that more apparent than at Tennessee under Butch Jones. Again, none of those transfers are critical. But as we look at depth, it's always something to keep in the back of your mind. On top of that, the other issue off the field is the announcement that 8 Vols will miss spring practice. So that's about 10% of your returning letterman, 10% of your returning 2-deep roster. Highlights there, 5 of those on the defensive side, Micah Abernathy and Rashawn Golden. I thought Golden was the most underappreciated player last year. Both of those guys defensive backs. On the defensive line, the area that was hit most hard or hardest with injuries last year, Kyle Phillips and Tuttle still recovering from injuries at the end of their season last year, and then Kendall Vickers as well on the defensive line. On the offensive side, Josh Smith, Brennan Johnson, wide receivers, and Brett Kendrick on the offensive line. The offense, going back to last year, much healthier than the defense. So we'll see how the absence of these 5 guys changes how Tennessee practices in their spring ball. Unsure if any of those will return before the end of spring ball.